So today's session, I have divided it as follows. Like first, we will be doing composition levy. Yesterday, a lot of people have asked a lot of questions, so I'm going to take it in details. The composition levy. Then we are going to do the amendments in the registration. Yesterday, we have done till registration. So amendment in core and non-core fields. And then thereafter, we are going to see the cancellation of the registration already done, and then revocation of cancellation order. These are the topics major priority for today, and if still we will be left with time, so we will do the LUT if left with time. Okay. Binu is saying for a recap of yesterday. Binu, a total recap would be difficult because yesterday it was basically we have done the registration process. We have gone on the portal only to do the registration thing. You will be getting the video link so you can have the entire class again if you have missed anything for that particular session. Okay, so let's start with today. Let's start with the basic knowledge about what is a composition levy. I would first like to know what you people have an idea regarding composition levy. What is it? Why it is different from a regular GST registration, or I would say a normal GST registration? I want to see some answers coming out. Satyan is saying a composition dealer cannot claim ITC. Parth is saying GST at the rate 1%. Pranavi is saying that we cannot claim ITC and has to pay 1% GST on turnover. Okay. Veena is saying it is for small taxpayers up to rupees 75 lakhs turnover. Rakesh is saying special exemptions for specified persons. Okay, Ketan is saying this helps retail vendors. Okay, okay. So what I'm getting is that from all your answers, that you people have an idea about composition, but you are not updated about the latest limits which have been organized, not a complete. You have a vague idea about regarding the composition dealer scheme. Okay, so this is one answer from Alagu, which he's saying that it is turnover up to 1.5 crores. It's the latest limit which has been defined, that is 1.5 crores. But there are multiple limits, Alaguji. Let's come on that. Okay. So what the composition levy is, the government has given relaxation or benefit to small business people who are running very small businesses and who cannot maintain books of accounts. They don't maintain books of accounts. They are just running their business. They are not required to go ahead with all the formalities that is involved in GST. It's quite easy for them to go ahead with the composition scheme. So in order to encourage them, the government has brought this composition levy scheme. Okay. When I talk about the turnover limits, there are 3 limits for composition dealer to get yourself registered as a composition dealer. So first is 1.5 crores if you are a supplier of goods. There are exceptions to everything. We will cover the exceptions also, but I'm talking generally that it is 1.5 crores if you are a supplier of goods. This is for all states other than specified states. Okay. Then it is 70 lakhs for specified states. And specified states कौन-कौन सी हैं आपकी? That is Himachal Pradesh and northeastern states. Okay. This is also for supplier of goods. For other states, 1.5 crores. For the specified states, it is 75 lakhs. Then there is another limit, 50 lakhs, which is for supplier of services. If you are a supplier of services, the government has given you a limit of 50 lakhs. You can go ahead with the composition levy scheme. Okay. If you just want to recap, what is it? The turnover limits, which says 1.5 crores if you are a supplier of goods. It covers all the states except the specified states. 75 lakhs if you are in specified state and you are a supplier of goods, and 50 lakhs if you are a supplier of services. In this particular tax or turnover limit, they have given you a benefit that in addition to your goods, you can even supply services, provided it's only either 10% of turnover or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. 1.5 crores. Let's suppose your services also included. You are a supplier of goods, but your small business part, less than 10%, you are dealing into services as well. So you can go ahead with this kind of registration, 1.5 crores. Okay, this is available to you. Next is, when I calculate this turnover limits, we have learned the formula of calculating the turnover last class, right? Even for composition dealer, it has to be taken PAN based. Entire India you need to cover. You cannot say, let's suppose I am going to go ahead with this 1.5 crore turnover, and I am saying I have one business of textile and I have one business of, let's suppose I have one business of spare parts, and I am saying इसका टर्नओवर 1 करोड़ है, इसका टर्नओवर 2 करोड़ है, तो मैं इसमें कॉम्पोजिशन ले लेता हूं और इसमें रेगुलर रजिस्ट्रेशन ले लेता हूं. This can't be done. Big no. Composition, even for composition dealer, you have to take registration PAN based. You will calculate your turnovers for both the thing. Now for both the thing, your turnover is coming to 3 CR. So it is more than 1.5 CR. You won't get a composition dealer registration. It is not possible for you. So you have to see your turnover again PAN based. On a single PAN, if you are having turnover more than 1.5 CR, you can't get that. Let's suppose the scenario changes and textile business has a turnover of 50 lakhs and this spare parts business has a turnover of 75 lakhs. Both are supply of goods and the total comes out to 1.25 crores. Yes, I can get a composition dealer registration. I hope you get my point. Don't get confused that composition levy is applicable to you or not. Okay, one more question can come. Let's suppose I am running one business as a chartered accountant only, I'm talking. So let's take it on another sheet. I am a CA. I'm running a proprietorship. Okay, I think I've committed some mistake in the spelling. Whatever. Okay, I think you just get what I'm trying to write. Proprietorship, and I am rendering services here, and I'm rendering services of rupees 30 lakhs. And I am also a supplier of goods. Sorry. Supplier of goods, and I'm rendering goods of 20 lakhs. So it's a kind of mixture I'm going to do. I am supplier of goods. In case of supplier of services, composition levy is applicable if your sale is less than 50 lakhs, but they have not given you an option of a combination of both. Whereas in goods, they have allowed you that up to 10% of your turnover can be of services. But in this case, my services is the dominant service, the dominant kind of business I'm doing. So in this scenario, I won't be allowed to take a composition levy registration. I have to take a regular registration because 10% of 20 lakhs is 2 lakhs. So if I have to do services along with goods, so it can be up to 2 lakhs or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. So that comes out to be 5 lakhs, not beyond that. So Milanji is saying that all registration we have to consider PAN-based business. Correct. Very correct. It has to be PAN-India based. Bhagwant is saying if applicable, it's applicable to all business. Yes. So if you are a composition levy person, so all your business will be registered under composition levy. It cannot be one in composition and one in regular. Rupal is asking what is the drawback of registering as composition dealer? I'm coming to that point. Let's take it step by step. Then, what are the tax rates available? In the dialog box, I've got an answer of 1% only. 1% is a part of the tax rate. There are 3 kinds of tax rates that are available. So for goods, it is 1%. For restaurants not serving alcohol, it is 5%. And for services, it is 6%. Okay, this is somehow the rate. Next condition is that tax rate, it is always be CGST and SGST. There is no IGST. Composition dealer को कभी IGST नहीं लगेगा. He is not required to pay any of the tax in IGST. Any means any. Coming to its step, if you are a supplier of goods, the rate is 1%. That is 0.5% CGST and 0.5% SGST. So it is, I'm defining it, 0.5. This is 2.5 and 2.5. And this is 3 and 3. Bifurcated. Please do make it a rule in your mind. In case of composition levy, we are never going to use the IGST box. Never ever. It will always be CGST and SGST. Okay? The next thing is that this is the tax rate. Now, what all taxes a composition dealer is required to pay? Taxes composition dealer has to pay. Answers? So Satyan is saying that we cannot have interstate activities. Yes. So this is a condition to get yourself registered under composition levy, that you cannot have interstate transactions. If you want to have interstate transactions, then you have to go for a regular registration, not a composition levy. And the next thing is, very important thing is that in composition levy, you don't charge the GST component from your customers. So that is why the customers will prefer buying things from you rather than from the regular registration, because you don't add GST component on your bills. It is, you have to pay out of your own pocket. So what exactly the taxes you are going to pay if you are registered under composition levy? Whatever is your taxable turnover, on that you are going to pay. I'm taking 1% wala example, 1% out of your own pocket. You're not going to charge anything from the customer. Second, you are required to pay taxes on like RCM basis. If RCM basis is applicable, when I say RCM, let's suppose you have taken legal services. In legal services, RCM is applicable. So you need to pay taxes. Now, on RCM basis, when you have to pay, it is normal tax rates that are applicable. So legal services are chargeable at the rate of 18%. So you have to pay reverse charge on 18%. Normal tax rates are applicable. And this also will be CGST and SGST, irrespective of the fact you have taken legal services from outside the state. Yes, Sunita, you are coming to the right question. If purchases taken from different state and you are required to pay taxes on RCM basis, it has to be CGST and SGST. To clarify it in a better sense, let's talk about imports. You are doing imports of goods. So general rule is that on import of goods, you have to pay IGST, or import of services, you have to pay IGST. But in your case, it would be CGST and SGST. It will not be IGST. So these are the taxes you are required to pay. Pranavi, you are talking about RCM. What happens in RCM is that I'm taking it side by side because in yesterday's sessions, I have also seen that people are confused about the RCM thing. Where is it? Okay. Reverse charge mechanism. First, you need to understand what is a reverse charge mechanism. Generally क्या होता है? पहले generally समझो. ये vendor होता है. ये इसका customer है. So I have made a sale of ₹100 to this customer. Taxes are 18 rupees. I'm taking 18% as the thing. 118. I made the sale to the customer. Customer paid me 118 and I deposited 18 rupees to government. And customer gets ITC of ₹18. Getting this is a general rule. Satyan, your question, I think you have asked this question yesterday also. So his question is, if a lawyer is crossing the exemption limit of ₹20 lakhs, still we have to pay RCM on their bills? Satyan, the thing is that first thing, lawyers have taken a order from the court where there it is postponed that lawyers need to take a registration. So none of the lawyer have gone for registration except a few. There are always an exceptions, but the lawyers don't take registration under GST. So it is not at all a question that they have in limit of 20 lakhs or not. If we are taking services from lawyers and they don't have a GST registration and they haven't charged GST on their bills, you are required to pay taxes under the reverse charge mechanism on their bills. You have to make sure. Okay. So for lawyers, it's a very different kind of thing that is going on. And Satyan, you are saying that turnover limit will apply under RCM thing. No. RCM section 9.3, we are talking about, sorry. This we are talking about section 9.3. This is mandatory section. It is not bothered about the turnover of the vendor. Not at all. You have to pay RCM. If I'm taking GTA services, goods transport agency services, their turnover might be in crores, but I am required to pay taxes under RCM. When you talk about the turnover limit under RCM, that was RCM under section 9.4, and this is deferred, not currently working. And I don't think so it will come very soon into the practice. It's the most difficult section. If this comes, all the wrong business activities will get off. Okay. And Bhagwat Singh is saying recipient is liable to pay taxes instead of supplier. Yes. So in the last sheet, we were discussing, I told you that this is the generally rule which is followed. This is how the vendor supplies the good, taxes charged, deposited to the government, and the customer gets the ITC. Now, under RCM 9.3, what will happen? Now, this is the vendor. This is the customer. The vendor has given a bill of ₹100 to customer. Now, he is not charging, no taxes charged by him. I will pay taxes under RCM, 18 rupees. I'll deposit this to the government and simultaneously I'll take the ITC of the taxes paid. And this vendor, his sale bill will say, his sale bill, you need to specifically check the sale bill. His sale bill will say services 100, taxes 18, total 118, and then he will do a checkbox thing which will say taxes to be paid under RCM. He will specifically mention in his bill that taxes are required to be paid under RCM. He will make a bill of 118, but he will be charging only 100 from you. 18 you have to pay from your own pocket. You will deposit it to the government and you will take the ITC of the taxes paid. This is the reverse charge mechanism. We are in reverse charge mechanism. You don't follow the general rule. The general rule which says that vendor will charge the taxes, he will deposit to the government and the customer will get the ITC. Total reverse, vendor will only take 100 rupees from me. I'll deposit the taxes to the government and take the ITC. Is it clear? I hope the basic funda how the RCM works is clear to you, and we are talking about RCM 9.3. Ganesh, you are saying that RCM only for unregistered person. Why? No, there is no such rule. It is only for unregistered person. Again, the unregistered person RCM was section 9.4. We are talking about 9.3, not 9.4, and 9.4 is deferred. Okay. Ketan is saying under RCM, hope there is no IGST. Ketan, if we talk about composition dealer, no IGST. But if you are talking about a normal registration, that is your regular registration, the RCM can be IGST, can be CGST. Import of services, you always pay IGST. If I'm taking GTA services and my GTA provider is in different state, I'll pay IGST. Okay. Sharad Pagharis, security services under RCM? Yes, they are. Wait a minute. So there was one question I have missed. Nandini is saying, I think there is no difference between RCM and normal registration. Yes, there is no difference between RCM and normal registration. It's a normal registration only you are going to take. Okay. Then Ajit Ji is asking, ITC of RCM is utilized in the current month or the next month? It's utilized within the same month. Next month thing came when the GST law was incorporated. It was in July 17. And within a month, the rule was changed and the credit can be taken during the same month only. So in this sheet, if we'll talk about, we have deposited the taxes to the government. Let's suppose this was a sale made in the month of June. So for June, I'll be filing my 3B by 20th of July. So I'll deposit to the government by 20th of July and I will take the ITC for filing the return of June only. Okay. Then Bhagwat Singh is saying ITC will only be available if supplier upload sale bill on the GST portal. So it might be possible, na Bhagwan ji, that my supplier is an unregistered dealer, but I am still required to pay the taxes under RCM. So this is not a mandatory condition. Okay, now I think Nandini is getting to a conclusion and things are more clear to her. You are very correct, Nandini. Anyway, you have to pay rupees 18, either directly to the vendor or to the government. So there is, you cannot say that I'll be saved from rupees 18. Okay. Rupal Bhatt is asking that under what circumstances vendor will not charge tax. Rupal, if the person is not registered under GST, how can he charge tax? So if the person for whom I'm liable to pay taxes under reverse charge and he or she is not registered under GST, then they won't charge tax. We have to make sure that are they falling under section 9.3 and we'll pay the taxes. Subhashji is asking what is GTA services? GTA services, goods transport agency services. If you have any of your client who is into manufacturing business, they will have this freight inward and outward expense head. So we are hiring trucks to transport our goods, and it's a major part of an expenditure for a manufacturing company. Okay. Now, Parth is saying that legal services provided out of India attracts RCM. How will it attract RCM, Partha, if I am rendering legal services out of India? First, this is export of services. No taxes is there. Second, my customer is out of India. He is out of the ambit of GST law applicable by the Indian government. So there is no RCM on that. Okay. RK Pradhan, what you are talking about, he's saying that we need to mention on invoices about composition. I'm coming on that point. And then, okay. So a lot of questions are coming. I'll take, let's move on the topic as well. So where I was, we were talking about composition levy. So in between, I have explained you RCM also. So this is what I was telling you, that a composition dealer is required to pay these taxes on the taxable turnover out of his own pocket, RCM basis, and import of goods. So logical question has come from Sushma. She is saying if GTA is levying GST in a bill, is there need to pay RCM? So Sushma, just give you more clarification on GTA services. GTA services, there are two options given by the GST to GTA services, either opt for 5% scheme or opt for 12% scheme. If the GTA service provider opt for 5%, so taxes are paid under RCM. If the GTA provider opts for 12%, so it is a normal tax liability discharge. We are not required to pay in RCM, then he will charge GST from us and he will pay to the government. So there is no RCM under 12% scheme, but on 5% it is there. Okay. And another addition to this, when he goes for 5% scheme, he has no ITC, but if he goes for 12% scheme, ITC is available to him. These are specific rules for the GTA service provider. Okay. Okay. Let's move forward. So we talked about the rates and what all taxes the composition levy has to pay. Now, who can't go for composition levy? So who can't go for composition levy? Manufacturer of ice cream. It's, I think, pan masala and tobacco. Specifically, government has given these people can't go for this. Then interstate supply. If you have to make interstate supply, you cannot go for this. Okay. Casual NRI. I think yesterday a question was there in the session that can I take a composition registration if I have to do a transaction just for a month? So it's a no. For casual and NRI, you can't take a composition levy thing. And if you are a business who is supplying goods through e-commerce operator, like let's suppose I am selling my goods through Amazon, I cannot take composition levy scheme. I have to be a regular registration. Okay, getting this point is clear. Now, how to opt for composition levy scheme, how to withdraw from that scheme, let's come to that point. Opting for composition levy. Okay, so this can be done. So Satyanji is asking why government is not allowing ice cream, pan masala and tobacco dealer for composition levy scheme. Satyan, we need to go back to the government and ask this question. See, what I believe is that, see, I'm not sure for ice cream, but for pan masala and tobacco, I have seen these are under the separate categories only. Be it your alcohol and pan masala and everything, the government has taken them into a separate thing. I don't know, they don't want to lose their revenue side on this, because pan masala and tobacco are contributing a huge amount of revenue to the government. So let's come to this opting for composition levy scheme. It can be done before starting off the financial year. That is by 31st March of every year. You have to do this. The government keeps on coming out with the notifications, giving you extensions that by this date you can opt for the composition levy. So once you opt it, it is done for lifetime until and unless you don't withdraw it. Okay. So once you opt for the composition levy, it has to be done before the starting of the financial year, and then only you will be registered under the composition. Let me show you on the portal as well. Let's move on the portal side by side. So what I'm doing today, I am going to log in through my user and user ID and password, and going to take you there. What Nandini is asking, not considering turnover. So, Nandini, how the government will come to know your turnover is exceeding 1.5 crores? So, when your turnover will exceed 1.5 crores and you know that you cannot be in composition levy anymore, you have to go for the withdrawal of the composition levy scheme. Nothing will happen automatically. Bhagwanji is also asking the same question, that what will happen if turnover exceeds? Nothing is going to happen automatically. You have to be an educated taxpayer. You know, okay, now my turnover has exceeded the limit, I have to withdraw the composition levy thing. And if you don't do it on time, it's 30 days time given to you. If you don't do it, again, you will attract penalty on you. Okay. So I am doing login. Though the scheme for opting of composition levy is now not visible because it's not activated. It's visible, but it's not activated because the time period for application is gone. Okay, I'm just showing you where it is so that you can have an idea. Just give me 1 minute. Let me get the user ID and passwords. Okay, so it is the 10. Uh-oh, what I did. Though I logged in. Just wait a minute. Okay. So over here, when you will go to the services tab, I think the screen is visible. The services tab, registration, and then there is application to opt for composition levy. So this is the screen where you will go and opt for the composition levy. So currently it is showing me that the facility to opt in for composition levy for financial year 21-22 is disabled now because the last date was 31st March. and it has already gone, so I cannot opt for this. Okay, fine. But I think, let me just check. I have given you screenshots. Okay, so let's take this. It's not on the portal, but in the PPT, I have shown you. So this is the form that you have to fill, CMP02, and I've shown you the application to opt for composition levy. You click on it, and then this page is visible to you. When you go for application to opt for composition scheme, this is by default that comes. Your business name, legal, principal place of business. Then it asks the nature of business you are into, which financial year you want to opt for the composition levy. The jurisdiction is mentioned, and then there is just a declaration and verification. That's all information it is required in this CMP form. Okay, where you say that I want to opt for the composition levy. I don't want to be in a regular registration now. You give this declaration, you do the verification, and then Subhashji is asking what is the time period for applying composition levy. So Subhashji, the composition levy cannot be opted during the financial year. It has to be done before the starting of the financial year. So composition is always available to you from 1st of April. Okay, right? So select the authorized signatory. So a practical question is there from Ramaji. He's saying that if the turnover exceeds for 1 year and the next year if it is less than 1.5 crore, can I continue with composition levy? So Ramaji, in the year, let's suppose you are talking about financial year 18-19. My turnover has exceeded 1.5 CR. Then when your turnover exceeded, you have to go for the withdrawal of the composition levy at that time only. You cannot say that I know, okay, next year I'm going to have 1.5 CR, so I don't want to withdraw it. You are doing something wrong. So you have to withdraw your composition levy scheme. Then again, you know, for the next financial year, that is 1920, your business is going to reach up to 1.5 CR only. Then you can again apply for the composition levy. It can be done multiple times. Okay, it cannot be that your turnover has exceeded and then you are not withdrawing your scheme. You are doing a default then. So this is how in the next step you are going to apply for the authorized signatory form and you will be able to apply for your composition levy. Okay. So it is mentioned that if you have applied, it has to be done once and you are not required to opt in again. Okay. Then it is asking, then what will happen is that now once you opt for composition levy, now what all you are required to do? What will happen? So I have opted for composition levy. And it's from 1st April 2021. Okay, this is for the composition levy. On 31st March 21, let's suppose I have a stock lying with me worth rupees 10 lakhs. Okay, I have this stock and on this there is a credit of 1,80,000 which is still unutilized and it is lying in my ITC ledger, ITC credit ledger. Okay, it is still there. But now from 1st April onwards, I am under the composition levy. So I am not required to take any ITC. So what I have to do, I have to fill up a form for writing it off. all the ITC has to be written off. Now it will become my cost. I cannot avail that ITC and I have to make my input tax credit ledger 0, and we will fill up the form ITC 03. So in ITC 03, we fill up that this is the credit that is lying with me and I have to write it off. How ITC 303 is filled? So we are going to take all the ITC forms together, ITC 01 to ITC 04. And I'll be explaining you what all information are required to be filled ITC 3. Keep in mind, ITC 03 is required to be filed when you opt for composition levy. So 2 forms required at the time of going into the composition scheme, your CMP 02 and this ITC 03. You have to file it. Okay, now Ravi ji is asking, composition scheme for all who registered under normal, voluntary, etc. below 1.5 crore turnover. Ravi ji, it depends on you. See, again, this is a decision, a subjective decision to be taken by the supplier. Does he really want to go for composition scheme or not? If I am below 1.5 crore and does my customers really are happy with no GST and I won't be getting the credits, if my credits are huge, I'll be at a loss, right? So this is a very practical and a subjective decision to be taken. It's not a general thing. Like let's suppose I am a chartered accountant and my turnover is below 50 lakhs. So should I go for composition? I'll take a logical decision. Okay. Nandini, you are saying loss of rupees 1,80,000. Nandini, here we are not talking about profit and loss, we are talking about turnover. So losses and profit not to be considered to get a this composition levy registration. Milanji, refund we will take a separate class and I'm not taking it today. Okay, then Veena ji is asking that, wait a minute, Veena ji, your question just went above, let me just see. If there are taxable goods as well as exempted goods, whether 1% tax has to be paid only on taxable sales or on exempted sales as well. So this is a very nice question from Veena ji. She's saying that if in my turnover I am having taxable sale goods and exempted sales good, both. I just write the question and I think it's a very good food for thought for everyone. So there is taxable sales and there is exempted sales. My turnover is total 1.2 crore and I am under composition levy. Okay. Taxable sales are, let's suppose, 80 lakhs and this is 40 lakhs. Now I want, this is a food for thought for everyone. I want an answer. Take your time, not today, take your time. We'll take it in the next class, that how much taxes you are required to pay. Nice question, Veena ji. A quite of grilling for all the class. And I think you will go back and study and see what will happen. Right? I'm just mentioning it in my records also. Let me see how much you can think about it. Okay? So we'll take this, Veena ji. Don't you worry. Let's give a food for thought to everyone. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of questions for ITC, input tax credit. Arshad, what you were saying in this thing, ITC will be refund 1.8 lakhs. Okay, you are saying, okay, Arshad is saying in this case that this 1,80,000 we will get a refund. Why we will get a refund? I'm not going to get a refund. Why I'm going to tell you. So you need to understand one thing, very basic concept of GST. What is GST? It's a tax on value addition. I think you all people agree what is GST? Tax on value addition. So now there is a manufacturer, then there is a wholesaler, then there is a retailer, and then there is customer. Just giving you a very lame example. Manufacturer makes anything for 100, sells it for 120 to wholesaler. Wholesaler sells it for 150 to retailer, and retailer sells it for 180 to customer. So what are the value additions made? So manufacturer must have purchased it for 80 rupees. He made a value addition of 20. He sold to wholesaler for 20 rupees. So this is the increase in his value addition, 20. The wholesaler is selling it for 150. His value addition is 30. And his value addition is again 30 rupees. Okay. So when I have received this raw material from my vendors, might be I'm getting this raw material. This is the raw material I've got for 80 rupees and I have value added, and now I'm going to, it is my cost. 100 rupees is my cost. इसमें 80 रुपए का raw material था और सर्विसेज थी मेरी यहाँ पे 20 रुपए की. तो 100 रुपीज का आइटम मैंने बेचा उसको 120 में. तो I have added a profit margin of 20 rupees. This vendor on 80 rupees must have charged GST on this. I'm taking a round figure of 10%, 8 rupees GST. Now I'm selling it for this, must have also charged 2 rupees GST. I am selling it for 120. I am charging a GST of rupees 12. So what the manufacturer will do, this is his tax liability, 12 rupees. ITC था इसका कितना? 8 plus 2, 10 rupees. So he paid 2 rupees to the government and 10 rupees to his vendors. So the concept is manufacturer is paying GST on the value addition made by him. Getting? This is the value addition which he has made, on which he is paying the taxes to the government. And the government wants to recover the taxes at every stage till the time it reaches to the customer. Government का motive यही होता है, okay? कि उसे पूरा taxes चाहिए. अब thereafter, when the wholesaler sells it to 150 पे he is going to charge 15 rupees. Now he has an ITC of 12 rupees, which is charged by the manufacturer. So he is paying 3 rupees to the government. Similarly, this retailer is going to charge GST on 180, that is 18 rupees. He has a 15 rupees credit and he will pay 3 rupees to the government. So in total, the government has received how much ITC? Total ITC to the government. Total tax, I should say, total tax to government is 8 plus 2, 10, then 2 rupees from manufacturer, then 3 rupees from the 2 rupees from manufacturer, 3 rupees from wholesaler, and 3 rupees from retailer. A total of 8 plus 2, 10, and this is 18. So a total of 18 rupees taxes have been received by the government. That is the tax on the final price 180. So government received the price but in limits, installments. So just want to tell you the basic concept, then I can make you understand what will happen when I go for a registration from a normal registration to a composition levy. The government will never lose its tax component, never ever. Government do make sure it is going to receive the taxes on the whole transaction. This is clear, the value addition thing, and the government paying taxes and the government receiving the taxes on that. If the value addition thing is clear, now I can come to what will happen to the taxes, the ITC lying with me, when I convert from a regular registration to a composition levy. So let's take that. Now under composition levy, same thing will happen. Vendors are there. Manufacturer के पास गया 100 rupees का. Manufacturer has sent it to the wholesaler for 120 rupees. Now there is a retailer. Wholesaler is selling to the retailer for 150 rupees. Okay. And the retailer is selling it to the customer. Let's take it the same price, 180 rupees. It is selling to the customer for 180 rupees. Now the government is getting the taxes in the same manner, 10 rupees from here, Manufacturer is going to pay 12 minus 10, 2 rupees. Wholesaler is going to pay 15 minus 12, 3. And now this retailer has an ITC of 15 rupees. Now he says that I want to opt for composition levy. Okay. Till now, how much ITC government has received? 10 plus 2 plus 3. That is 15 rupees. Government has received this ITC. Okay. Getting my point? Now, I have an ITC of rupees 15 lying in my account. Wholesaler has sold it for me 150 and this 15 rupees is lying to my account. This 15 rupees, what I'll do, I'm going to give it, deposit it back to the government. It will be deposited back because now I'm going to pay taxes out of my own pocket. The government says that if the government will give me the refund of this 15, as has been asked by in a query, that we will get a refund of this 115. The government has received 15 rupees. Will the government pay me back 15? Government will have 15 minus 15, 0. A net loss. Why the government will take a net loss? This value addition, whatever has happened till date, the government is not going to receive even a single penny. So I have to write it off this 18 rupees. So government has 15 rupees in his kitty and this ITC will be written off. I'm going to declare ITC lying with me is 15. And when I give that declaration in ITC 03, so all my ITC will be removed. Whatever I'll declare will be removed. So my ITC ledger will be 15 minus 15, 0. No ITC with me. So till date, whatever the government has received, it will be with the government only, its own kitty. Whatever the value addition has been made up to the retailer level in the chain is with the government. Government can't give you back the refund. And now what the government will get, now this is a loss. Now let's suppose the retailer is selling to the customer for 180. His liability is now for 1%. So he sold to the customer for 180 rupees. 1% is coming out to 1.8 rupees. He will deposit this 1.8 rupees to the government, directly to the government, and the customer's cost price would be 180. In the earlier case, it was 180 plus 18. That is 198. Now the goods are cheaper to the customer as compared to the normal registration. They will get it for 180 only rather than 198. And the retailer will deposit 1.8 to the government and the government's kitty will now stand at 15 plus 1.8, that is 16.8. I hope I make myself clear. Okay. So this is how, when you opt for a composition levy, your things are not going to stop. Okay. Clarity? Now there is one more question I'd like to pick up from Reshma ji. She's saying, if ITC is written off to switch to composition levy, then can the trader treat this written off ITC as loss to business? Reshma ji, why to take it as a loss? It's a cost. You have paid, this retailer has paid 15 rupees to the wholesaler. Generally, if I talk about, I'm making a purchase of 150 rupees and ITC component is 15. So if I'm a regular registration, I write purchase cost as 150 and ITC credit as 15. Now what I'm going to write, my purchase cost as 165 only. And if it is something that is happening when I opt for composition levy, you can book it as the GST component written off at the time of opting of composition levy. It's a debit side expenditure. You can write it as loss, but I would prefer don't take it as a loss. I'll take it as an ITC written off. So Ranjita is saying that government is also getting less tax. Yes, the government is getting less tax when we talk about the composition levy as compared to the normal scenario. But it is a kind of why the government has bought this scheme. See, one has to do the cost opportunity analysis, and our government is very clever. This cost opportunity analysis is done by them. So what exactly happens? Now the small businessmen are also motivated to come into this channel and get themselves registered under GST. So when they get into this channel, first benefit that they're giving to the customer is that the goods are cheaper. As compared to the normal process, it is cheaper. The benefit to the government is that now more people are within the ambit of GST. Once 1.5 CR, sooner or later you are going to increase. You are under the radar of the government. They can check it that this is your you are under GST and they will have a hold on you. The retailers are benefited because one side they get a GST registration, second side they don't have to do all the formalities which are involved in a regular GST registration. They are not required to maintain books of accounts. They are not required to go ahead with all the formalities. Just they take a bulk of the entire month. Okay, in this month I have made a sales of rupees 80 lakhs. Calculate 1% and just deposit it. Nothing more than that. Return filing is quite easy for them. So that is why it's a benefit win-win situation for both the government and the normal people, right? So reversing ITC is a cost debited to the P&L account. Okay, okay. So where I was telling you that opting for composition levy, how it happens, ITC 03, we will take it when we are going to do the ITC forms. Okay. And then we have told there is no ITC available in this. All the ITC, whatever you are going to book, will be a part of your purchase cost only. Next important thing is that a composition dealer will issue bill of supply, not a tax invoice. So when we talk about the documentation work in GST, there are multiple documents. Bill of supply, tax invoice is the one which is raised by a regular registration done. You will charge taxes and everything. Bill of supply is the one which is to be issued for sale of goods, and there is no GST component on that. And he will mention on the bill of supply that this is raised by a composition dealer and there is no GST levied on the transaction. It has to be mentioned on the bill of supply. So make sure you're issuing bill of supply and not a tax invoice. Okay. Then if I talk about returns filing, you have to file CMP 08 through which you deposit taxes. It is done by 18th of the month following the quarter. You deposit the taxes through it. Then the return is only one return, GSTR 4, you have to file annually. Sorry, spelling mistake. Annually, and this has to be done by 30th April. And then there is GSTR 9A, that is your annual returns. जैसे 9 और 9C होती है वैसे होती है जो कि 31st December तक जानी होती है. So composition dealer is at a very ease when we talk about the return filing. Okay, so this is how these things go, and I'll even take you again on the portal. Okay, it's logged out. Let's log in again. So just let me take out the user ID and the passwords. So over here in services portion only, registration. So there was application to opt for composition levy. At the same area, we were having the application for withdrawal from composition levy. So I cannot file it because I have not applied for the composition levy. So even here, there are similar tabs only that you have applied for the composition levy, from which date you want to withdraw from the composition levy, and please explain the reason for withdrawal of from the composition levy. So this is the area. I'm just taking it to you on a bigger screen. So if you will see this, it says that withdrawal from the composition scheme. If you have to withdraw, you have to go at that area only where I have gone right now on the portal. That is called CMP04. The day it comes to me that my turnover has exceeded the minimum limit, I have got a time period of 30 days and I will go ahead with this. This 30 days time period is available to me, and I'll go ahead for saying that I want to withdraw my composition levy scheme. And then when I withdraw, so now what will happen? The way I am saying that, okay, when I'm opting for composition levy scheme, I have to leave my ITC. In the similar manner, when you say that I want to withdraw from composition levy scheme, now there is ITC with the goods which are still lying with you in stock, the government will give you the benefit. You can take that ITC. So for availing that ITC, there is a form called GST ITC 01, which is required to be filed. We will file it and we'll get the ITC. Okay, so if the government is saying that once you opted out, we won't give you ITC, it is giving the benefit also that once you are leaving it, we will give you the ITC for whatever the stock is lying with you. So if you will see, this is where we went. Registrations, application for withdrawal from composition levy. We'll say I want to withdraw. Thereafter, this is the screenshots that I've given, so you can see whatever we need to file. This is GSTIN, legal name is coming, the date from which you want to withdraw. So the date, whichever you are mentioning, after that, you are not going to issue bill of supply. You are going to issue what? Tax invoices. Just make sure about all these reasons. And then it asks that reason for withdrawal from compositions levy. First is given as, this is not given over here, I'll give you that. So either it is voluntary that, okay, I don't want to be in composition levy anymore, I want to be in a regular registration. My customer demands like that, or it can be your taxable turnover has exhausted the limit, you are beyond that, you want to withdraw. And you want to submit your application and you just submit it. Okay. So once you have submitted and it is approved, so your profile status will change to a regular taxpayer rather than a composition levy. Getting it? Okay. So this is one more area that I want to cover and then we'll go for the break. This is a very small topic, that how to view and download certificates. Let's go on the portal directly. So if I'll go for services, user services, view and download certificates. So whenever I go there, I'll get all my certificates available there. So this is my latest certificate, 27/4/2018. I'll download it and I'll get my registration certificate. So this is my RC. Okay. Registration certificate will contain all the details. This is something I prefer. You as a GST person who is into GST business, and also you can communicate with your clients that whenever you are going to deal with any new vendor or a customer, please take their GST certificates with you, the registration certificates. Why I'm saying this? When you deal with the practical scenario, specifically whenever there is a case from the department, they held you liable for any frauds or anything, what they will do, they will ask that what KYC you have done of your customers or the vendors. So registration certificate is a part of the KYC document. And I've told you in the first session also, search GSTIN thing, you can go over there and check their active status, cancelled status, return filing status. So you should keep that with you in your records. And this activity should be done every year. Like in the beginning of the year, your accounts team, one person should be said that you need to repeat this activity every year. At least once a year, you have the KYC done for all your customers and vendors. So Ravi ji is saying that you want the composition and voice format. I'll do, Ravi ji, don't you worry, you will get that. I'll share the format for that. Okay. Okay, so let's take, it's 9:15 right now. We are taking a 15 minutes break right now. Okay, so we'll be back exactly beyond time. It's break. And this is 9:15. We'll meet exactly at 9:30. Have your nice cup of tea so that you are awake good for the next session. Okay. So Sheilji, you can do one thing. The query that you have quoted, please write it on the self-learning portal. I'll answer it to you personally. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going for the break, freezing it. Let's meet back again at 9:30. Yeah, so let's begin our session once again. So there is a query from Shankar ji. Again, I'm repeating on that. He's asking that if I have paid RCM for the month of July, so just let me explain it on the sheet only, you will have a better idea. So for July 21, okay, for this entire month, I have some legal expenses of rupees 1000. Okay, RCM liability comes out to rupees 180 that I have to pay. So its taxes will be paid on 20th August. That is the last date to file my GSTR 3B. Okay. So other liability is coming of rupees 50,000. I'll pay 50,000 plus 180. Total taxes that I have paid is total output liability comes out to this. Total output liability is 50,180. ITC, other ITC was, let's suppose, 20,000. And because of this RCM, my ITC 180 is also added. So total ITC is coming out to be 201080. So how will I will net off? Output is 50180. Input is 20180. Net I am liable to pay 30,000. But see, net impact is nothing. But you have to declare it. In your 3B, जब हम 3B करेंगे, GSTR 3B की filing हम देखेंगे. So we are going to study all this. How to show it in 3B. It has to be shown separately. ITC relating to RCM, IT's tax liability on account of reverse charge mechanism. You have to show everything. I'm audible and visible to everyone, right? I've not get that checked. My first session has made me this much cautious that I need to check every time. Okay, got the responses. So I believe Shankarji, I have solved what I'm telling you, and when we will be doing 3B, you will have a better clarity on this. So Reshma ji is asking, if trader sell his business to another entity, then can he transfer the ITC to the buyer of the business? Yes, he can transfer, and we will be discussing this in detail when we are going to do the ITC forms. That what are the scenarios when ITC forms are required to be filed, and this is one of that scenario only. Okay. So Shankarji, this means you are saying that this means I need not have to pay first to avail the credit. Shankarji, we are paying. This 180 rupees we are paying. And then we are claiming the credit, but net impact is nothing, right? And I don't know if CAs do take this practice or not, but I follow this practice. What I do, I always get 2 challans paid. 1 challan for RCM. So in this 30,000, my normal tax liability is what? 29,820, and RCM liability is 180. So I'll get 2 challans made, one for RCM and one for the normal liability. I get this thing done. So let's suppose sooner or later department come back to me and say that we want to see your reverse charge payment. I can show them the challan. This is my separate challan. Okay. Chaliye. Let's move forward now. Now we will be doing the amendment in the core and the non-core fields. So last class we have done with the registration. So this is what we need to start. Okay. Amendment of the core and non-core fields. एक चीज जो कल बताई थी, don't forget that you cannot ever change the PAN number in your GST registration. It can't be changed. If there is a change in PAN number, you need to take a new registration. No changes in GST number allowed. Okay. So what is the timeline? Within 15 days, it has to be done. Within 15 days, your amendment in the registry, amendment in the core or non-core fields have to be given to the department. Department will go through your application and accordingly they may approve or reject your amendments, or they can even ask you for the further clarification to be provided in case of the amendments given by you. So there are two kinds of amendment already discussed, core and non-core. On the portal, when you will go on the portal, in the registration services tab, registration, both options are available, amendment of registration core fields and non-core fields. Now, what are core and what are non-core fields, right? You have to identify that what exactly you have to go ahead with in terms of core and non-core fields. So I've given you the list. You can go through it. So the core fields are business name, that is trade name, if you want to get it changed. Legal name. So when I say legal name, I have told you yesterday that legal name is the name that is appearing on your PAN card. So if you have got the name changed in your PAN card, then you need to get it changed here also. The general example, still many females get their name changed after marriage. And if a proprietorship is running in their name, so if they get their changed name on the name change on the PAN card, please get it changed here also. So option is only for the legal name, not for the PAN number. So, and next is if there is any change in the principal and additional place of business, matlab, it means like you are changing entirely the principal place and additional place of business, then it has to be mentioned in the core fields, but do take care, it has to be within the same state. Can you tell me the logic why I can't give changes for registration for change in the principal office from Delhi to Haryana? Why can't I give that? Can anybody tell me? No answer till yet. I hope people are back from their breaks. Yes. So I have got responses that because it is the change of the state code. Agreed. When you are going to change the principal office address from one state to another, you cannot go ahead with the amendment in the core fields because now you want to take a new GST registration. So if something like that happens, you will surrender this GST number and you will take a new GST registration in the new state. Okay. Okay, good to know you all people are awake after your breaks. A nice cup of coffee everyone has taken, right? Okay, next core field that you can change is addition or deletion of stakeholders. So if there is any addition or deletion of your stakeholders, promoters, partners, then you have to make it through the core field amendment. Similarly, there are non-core fields. Non-core fields are if you have to make any changes in the bank details, business details as in your goods and services, kind of place, then editing state specific information, अगर आपको कोई state specific information change करनी है, authorized signatory या representative change करने हैं, आपको existing stakeholders की उनकी डिटेल्स को मॉडिफाई करना है. कोर फील्ड में क्या होता है कि हम नए स्टेक होल्डर्स की इंफॉर्मेशन डालते हैं. But when I say non-core, it's the modification in the details of the existing persons. And then minor modifications in existing principal and additional place of business. So what exactly is the difference in core and non-core when I talk about principal and additional place? When we are going to go do this live on the website, you will get this fact. Okay, so let's go on the portal directly. Let's take it as a practical review. Again, I have to log in. Just wait a minute. I don't remember the login ID and the passwords. Okay, so the login ID will be So once I logged in, then I have to go on Services tab, Registration, Amendment of Registration Core Fields. So this is a kind of amendment we were trying to do for the class only. So some information have been fed. So by default, it takes all the information. Your legal name of business, trade name. I want to change the legal name of business. I can go and click here, edit. It will give me an option that whatever you want to change, you can change, and you have to provide with the date of amendment, that when you have got a change in your PAN card. And then you have to even give the reasons why there is a change in the legal name of the business. Change in partnership firm name, ऐसे आप बोल सकते हो. Then change in the name of the company. Obviously, this will not, then if there is a change in the name of the person, then you can mention that change in the name of the person. Then if you want to give a change in your trade name, similarly, you can give it that. I want to cancel. See, PAN number option is not available to edit. I can't edit it. I can edit now the district. If there is a change in the district where I'm operating, I'll mention it. Constitution of business, if it is changing from partnership to any other form, then I need to tell, but I think this is not correct tab which they are giving. Because if I change my constitution of business, now you need to get that fact. If I changing from a partnership to a private limited company, will my PAN number remain same? No, it will get changed. Then this option is of no use. They are giving that I need to give a change in the constitution of business. But what possible change is applicable here is that currently, let's suppose my firm is a 2-partner firm and I have changed it into a 3-partner firm. So there is a change in the constitution of my business and I'll attach the amended partnership firm. Like for me, I can say, I believe my registration is with 2 partners. Now I have 3 partners. So now I have to go in this constitution, change in constitution. There is a 3rd partner introduced. I'll mention it as partner, the date of his or her addition into my firm and reasons. I'll give and I'll attach my latest partnership deed into that. Okay. Then we do save and continue. These are the promoters and partners information. The way we have fed into the data. I can even delete the partners detail. I can even add a new partner detail here. So if I have a new partner added, I'll do add new, and a similar form will open as which has opened during the time of filling of the form for the registration. Okay. I'll do continue. This is the principal place of business that I have mentioned. If I want to change the principal place of business, I'll go for edit. Now it is giving me an option, whatever changes you want to make, you can make. I have to upload my documents as well, this kind of place. And then you have to mention the date of amendment and the reasons. And like for partnership firm, I believe all amendments are supported by my partnership deed. In proprietorship, nothing like that happens, but with partnership, everything is supported by a partnership deed. In case of company, everything is supported by my incorporation certificate and with my this change in registered office address forms. So I have all the things supported, right? And then there is additional place of business. If I want to add more additional place of business, I can add. So this is an option. So Ranjita is saying that I saw that it is not allowing to change the state when we want to change principal place of business. That is the thing, Ranjita, we discussed it just 5 minutes before, that you cannot make changes in the state, because if I am going to make changes in the state, my state code changes, and this registration is meant for Delhi, so I cannot make it a registration for Haryana. If I have to do that, I'll take a new registration in Haryana and I will surrender my Delhi registration. Okay, yeah, good. So this is how we do these amendments, and then last tab is your verification, similar to the verification tab, and then you submit it with your EDC or DSC. Okay. So this is how you do the amendment in your core fields. Similarly, you have option for amendment in the registration of non-core fields. So by default, it will open only those boxes which are meant for non-core fields. If it is a core field thing, it will not allow you to edit it over here in the non-core option. So it's not giving me an option to change the legal name or the trade name or the constitution. It's not giving me that an option. If I want to add any other existing registration detail, this is the one which was earlier. If I have taken any other new registration, I can add it over here. Then it is allowing me the option only to edit the details, not to delete the detail of the partners. In the core one, it was giving me an option to delete the partner or add a new partner. But over here, it is not giving me that option. Now, Sushma ji is saying if a director expires whose DSC is registered on GST portal, can we register other directors' DSC and through non-core? Yes, obviously you can do that. First, that director must be the authorized signatory. That is why his DSC is working on the GST portal. You need to make a new document authorizing someone else as the authorized signatory. But for once time, you have to use the Dickey's director's digital signature to approve that. It will be approved, and then you will upload the new DSC in that. Okay. Nandini is asking that if I am closing my business in Delhi and starting in Pune, should I cancel first or register GST first? See, Nandini, both the tasks have to be done side by side. In Delhi, if your business is entirely closed, right, no transaction is being getting done. And on the other hand, you are in Pune, your transactions have started. So priority would be getting registered in Pune because you need a GST number to issue the tax invoices. Without GST number, you can't do that. So first priority would be getting the Pune registration. Now closing of the business in Delhi. It does not happen within a day the business close. You have to see your balance sheet is nullified. No assets and low liabilities. It takes time. So generally I keep my registration open for a few days till my balance sheet is not closed, everything is not settled, and then I go ahead with the closure of my registration with the Delhi unit. Okay. So now this is the authorized signatory detail. If I want to change the promoter partners detail, I can do it here. Authorized signatory, I am the authorized signatory for this particular registration. If I want to edit, and I can delete also if I want to add new one. So this option is given here, but not to delete or add the partners or promoters. You need to get this differentiation in core and non-core fields very clearly in your mind. Then I talk about the principal authorized representatives. There is no one. Principal place of business. So in the earlier one, in the core field, it was allowing me to do any changes in the principal place of business, right? But see over here, it is not allowing me to do such changes. The principal place of business, no option is available. It's just showing me I can make the changes in core fields only. Then additional place of business, I can view. That's all. So if I have to make any changes in the principal or additional place of business, it has to be done through the core fields. Next is your goods and services. If I want to make any changes in the goods and services, SAC codes or anything, I can do it here. If let's suppose I have added something new into my business profile, I can do it. Then bank accounts. Bank accounts details can be changed here. If I want to add it or delete, I can do it here. Okay. And one more thing that happens with the GST registration is that, like yesterday when we were going through the GST registration portal, it did not ask me the bank detail information. That happens once you get yourself registered, you get your GSTIN, your user ID and passwords, then it will ask you to update your bank account details. So this is something which has happened new. Earlier, when the GST law just came into practice, bank details were required at that time only. So this is something good which they have done, because generally banks don't open a current account without a GST number. So now they have made a proper change, and accordingly, once you get registered, you get your login ID and password. Please go and update your bank account details. State specific information, there is nothing such. We'll go for verification, fill it and submit it. All the changes will go to the government for approval. Okay. And one more thing I think I would like to tell you is that, so when you go for this login, oh, I'm already logged in. So I'll open it in a different browser. So when you say login, it gives you an option. First time login. जो हमने कल किया था, कल हमने किया था registration. So once I submit my registration application, within 7 days or 10 days, you will receive a mail from the GST department which will say, welcome to the GST family. And they will give you your first login user ID and password. So when you have the first login ID, user and password, you have to log in from here. You don't log in from the normal place. You don't log in from here. You have to log in from here, because then it will ask you to create a username and a password. Okay. So you will write your provisional GSTIN, your password, which is provided in the mail. And then when you log in, you will get an option to create your username and your password. See, you might be seeing from my username, I have generated as per my own wish. So I can do that. Okay. So let's move forward. Clear amendment in core and non-core fields. See, if everything is clear in terms of registration, amendment in core and non-core fields, it's not an issue. It's very simple. So let's go back to the PPT. I don't think there is anything new. So you can see everything which we have seen on the portal is visible to you here. You have complete notes for you. Okay, I think there was a query in between. I don't remember exactly who has asked. The query was regarding DSC. What happens, this is a very general thing that happens with everyone. Whenever we go and attach a DSC and try to sign it, it gives you this error. This one, this error. Fails to establish connection to the server, kindly restart the M signer. This query, you get it very generally. So this is a solution. You can try this. Once you get this fail to establish connection to the server, you can go. This PPT will be shared to you. You can write this address, HTTPS this. Then you need to click on advanced. नीचे जब आप ये HTTPS वाला एड्रेस डालते हैं, नीचे एक ऑप्शन आता है एडवांस. आप उस पर क्लिक करेंगे. Then click proceed to this, unsave and come back to the GST portal and refresh the page. And then you can do one thing, you can shut down your system, restart it, and then you can click on register digital signature. It's 80% of the time this works. Still, I'm taking the ratio of 80% because 20% times, there are certain issues with the system because of which the digital signature is not able to work. But try this, it works 80% of the time. Okay. Okay. Receive, and then there is cancellation of registration. Okay. So now can anyone tell me what will be the scenarios when you are required to cancel your registration? Answers from you. Winding up, closure of business, okay, on account of merger, turnover limit, business stopped, death, change in state. Okay, okay, fair enough. Fair enough, you people have a fair idea that when we need to go ahead with the cancellation of registration. These are the reasons when we need to cancel the registration. First is business has discontinued. I've stopped doing my business. Now I'm no more doing that business. So obviously, I'll cancel my registration. If the proprietor has died, see, in the case of death of a proprietor, it was a proprietorship business being carried by an individual. It will come to an end for sure because now the PAN number will be changed. The PAN number belonging to the proprietor cannot be used anymore. Amalgamated with any other entity, demerger. Okay. There is a change in the constitution of business. When I say change in constitution of business from partnership to private limited company, LLP, or a firm to any other constitution, the PAN number will change and hence we have to cancel the original registration. Next is taxable person is no longer required to be registered. That is the same thing, turnover thing. If my turnover is now less and I am seeing in the near future, my turnover is not going to exceed the taxable limits, I'll get myself the registration cancelled. Okay. Then cancellation of registration. These were the reasons we talked about when I want to do the cancellation on my own. But there were certain areas where the cancellation is being done by the government suo moto. I believe we have discussed this suo moto thing and people were asking me that what is this suo moto task? So what happens is that if you are a defaulter, any kind of default you have conducted in the GST portal or in the compliances, the government will come and cancel your registration on their own. But before cancellation, they always give you a show cause notice that please let us know why we should not cancel your registration. So if you'll see in the PPT, what exactly is happening is that if you have not filed the returns for consecutive 3 tax period under the composition scheme, it is talking about the composition scheme, आपने 3 return नहीं भरा, they will cancel your registration. And a normal registration, the regular taxpayer, if you have not filed your returns for continuous period of 6 months, they will cancel your registration. If you have taken a voluntary registration, अब registration ले तो लिया, but then you have not fulfilled the compliance formalities. So the government will see for 6 months you are doing or not, and then they will come and cancel your registration. See, this is actually, I would say, a welcome step from the government that if you are a defaulter, then why to take the benefits of the GST, right? You're a defaulter, then you need to pay for it and your registrations will be cancelled. We don't want to keep those registrations and records which are not making any use. And then registration obtained by means of fraud, willful misstatement, suppression of facts. इसका एग्जाम्पल मैंने कल दिया था कि आपने प्रिंसिपल ऑफिस का कोई एड्रेस डिक्लेयर कर दिया. Now what has happened? You have declared some address and you have not put on the board on that particular address. And on that address is a residential house or any commercial place as well, but some other business is being run. Your business is not visible there. No one was there to contact. So your registration will be cancelled by the GST department suo moto because it is for them a willful misstatement. You have knowingly given an address where you don't exist. So that is why in the addresses, please take correct addresses. Don't take any address, any haywire address where you are not going to be available. Okay. Then the last point which is given here, it will always be with an opportunity of being heard. As I have said, show cause notices will be there issued to you. You have to reply to that show cause notice that, okay, I have committed this default. I have not filed a return for 6 months due to this blah blah reasons. Please give me this 10 days time or 15 days time. I'll file all my returns and then you please don't cancel my registration. It depends upon your exact scenario. Do you want your registration to be cancelled or not? And one more thing, don't think that if your registration is suo moto cancelled by the government, now you are free from all the liabilities relating to the GST portal. This is not going to happen. Okay, so when your registration is cancelled, you have to, oh sorry, I just missed what I was there. So when your registration is cancelled, you have to make sure till the date of cancellation of registration, all your returns have been filed. You have been freed from all the liability. There is nothing to pay. Then after cancellation, there is a final return also which is required to be filed. That is also filed by you. The portal gives you one option. Let's suppose I am not filing my returns from June 2020. And the government cancels my registration from 1st January 2021. So still the portal will give me an option to file my returns for the period June 20 till January 21. It will be always open. But from the date of cancellation, after that, the period after that, I cannot file my returns after that. But up to that date, I can file my return. And if my registration is cancelled, I'll first file my returns up to January 21. Then I'll go to the department along with my application that, okay, see, I had committed a default. Now I have paid all my taxes along with the applicable late fees, penalty, and interest. Now I request you to please open my registration. The application for opening of a registration will happen only when you have rectified all your defaults till the date of cancellation of registration. Okay, I hope I make myself clear. So there is one query from Veena. I think it must be going in the mind of a lot of people, that can we get refund of ITC while cancelling GST registration? Veena, go back to that point which I was explaining in the composition levy, that once I transfer myself from a normal registration to a composition levy scheme, why the government will give me back that ITC? Government will be at a loss. So if I say I am cancelling my GST registration, so whatever ITC is lying will now be my cost. I cannot take that credit, it will be my cost. Government nowhere is going to give you back the refund. It has to complete its value addition chain. Okay? Okay. So this was the thing that I was telling you, that cancellation of registration nowhere says that you are free from your GST liabilities. You have to still make the payments till the date of your cancellation. Okay. Then it is also mentioned that after cancellation of registration, payment of an amount has to be made. If your registration has been cancelled, and the thing I explained, that I will file the pending 6 months return along with my output liability, interest, penalty, whatever, and I'm going to make the payments and everything. Okay. Let's go on the portal. Do it practically rather than just doing it on this. So I'm going on services. Nandini is asking, what is UTGST? So Nandini, there are GST, CGST, SGST, IGST, and SGST is UTGST. So this is for center, this is for state, this is interstate transactions के लिए होता है, this is for union territories. जो कल मैंने लिस्ट दिया था स्टेट कोड का, उसमें यूनियन टेरिटरीज का भी कोड है. तो अगर आप एक यूनियन टेरिटरी हो जैसे चंडीगढ़, तो आप चंडीगढ़ में जब लोकल सेल करोगे, what I'm doing today, I'm writing all the spellings wrong. So Chandigarh, if I'm doing local sales, I'm going to charge CGST plus UTGST. It won't be SGST because Chandigarh is a union territory. Okay. So this is a practical question from Sayali. She is saying, let's suppose I don't have any sales and purchases and I closed my business. My registration is cancelled. Am I liable to pay any taxes or penalty to the government? So I will answer this. Sayali, you must be then filing nil return. You are liable to file nil returns till the time your GST registration is active. Late filing fee, you might be aware, for 3B, it is 200 if it is a normal return and rupees 50 if it is a nil return. So this 50 rupees liability is still on you. You're not filing your returns on time. So you are liable to pay the nil late filing fees. There would be no interest because you don't have any sales. So there was no output tax liability on you. So no interest will go, no penalty would go. But then late fees will always be there. And then since you have not filed your returns for 6 consecutive periods, the department might come back with a notice on you that since you were a late filer, you are required to pay penalty. Still, this is an area where you can fight with the department because you were not having any liabilities. So there is no revenue loss to the government. It's a fightable area where you can fight, and generally the government says that okay, no penalty applicable on you, but you have to pay the late fees. Okay. Then we come back to this services registration and application for cancellation of registration. If I want to file a cancellation, then I will go ahead with this. So this is the form I need to fill. Basic details, it is updated. It is asking that what would be the address for future correspondence. Let's suppose if I am cancelling my GST registration, I've stopped doing my business. I'm no longer operating at the same place. So I'll have to give the new address where they will be corresponding with me. Please do make sure it is correct. If it is same to same, if it is not, then you need to mention the new address. Okay, save and continue. Then there is cancellation details. You need to give a reason for cancellation, why you are cancelling your registration. You need to mention there is a change in the constitution. I am not liable to pay tax because my turnover is less. I'm closing my business. Others on account of amalgamation merger or death of the sole proprietor, whatever. And it will take the information when my last return was filed, and then I do save and continue, and final is verification. Okay, so it is asking me to give the reasons. I'm just giving, let's suppose it's from 24th only. Okay, when I give this reason, it is now telling me that you have to provide the tax payable on stock. If I am a retailer, or let's say wholesaler, I'm saying 24th July, I have ceased to be liable to pay tax. But on 24th July, I must be having some stock with me, some fixed assets with me, right? See, it is asking inputs contained in semi-finished goods, in the finished goods, capital goods, plant and machinery. It is asking me all the questions that please tell me what is the value of stock and what is the GST payable on this. I have to calculate and write it. Now this area is different. Inputs तो आपके पास जितना है. Let's suppose I have an input of rupees 1 lakh and I know it is at the rate of 18%. So I'll say 18%. So this how I will pay. जितना मेरे पास इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर में पड़ा है पहले तो मैं वो यूटिलाइज करूंगी. वो यूटिलाइज करके पेमेंट करूंगी and still my liability is more. I'll pay it through cash component. I have to make the payments. In case of capital goods and machinery, you need to consider one thing. So this was something I have mentioned. In respect of capital goods, In respect of capital goods, plant and machinery, the amount would be reduced by prescribed percentage points or the transaction value, whichever is higher. Let me explain this to you. So I'm talking about my business only, capital goods. RK Pradhan is asking if one of the additional place of business is closed, can be simply amended? Yes. You do not need to go for GST registration surrender, just delete that additional place of business. So let's suppose I have a capital good. Let's take, I have a car registered in my business name. And I have bought this car in, let's take it, 1st, I bought it on 1st April 2019. Okay. Now on 24th July 2021, I am cancelling my registration. Okay, let's change the example car, because on car ITC is not available to you. It's under section 17.5. I'm changing this car to a cupboard. I have made a lot of furniture made in my office, a cupboard. The value of the cupboard was 5 lakh rupees. And on it, GST was, let's take 50,000. I'm taking a normal rate of 10%. So in the year 1st April 2019, I have utilized this ITC. I have made the utilization. Now within 2 years, I'm cancelling my registration. GST law क्या कहता है? Estimated useful life is 5 years. So it assumes that any asset which you have used will be used for a period of 5 years. So it says that in 5 years, you can use 5% of ITC every quarter. इतना ITC मिलेगा आपको हर क्वार्टर के लिए और part thereof. So if I'm saying 24 July, so I have to see part thereof as well. So 5% ITC I'm going to get. My purchase date is 1st April 2019 to 24th July 2021. How many quarters in total are there till here? Answer please. How many? I need to see the answers. Okay. A lot of answers. Partha, how 26? No. Okay. So most of the people have come out with correct. That is 9 quarters. How? 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. It is 4. 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021. It is again 4. And then it is, okay, it's not even 9, it's 10. I was wrong. 1st April 21 till 30th June 2021, 1. And then 1st June 21 till 24th July 2021, again 1. A total of 10 quarters. For a part, this is not a complete quarter, it is a part. Even for part, I'll take a complete number. So I have 10 quarters. So if I have 10 quarters, so 10 quarters into 5%. 5% is for every quarter. So I'm getting what? 50%. 5% for every quarter, and in total it's a 5 years thing. Okay, right. So I am getting 50% as an answer. So I am authorized to claim only 50% of the ITC. 50% has to be reversed. So what I have done in the year, I have purchased this in 1st April 2019. So I must have taken ITC of rupees 50,000 in April 19 return. See, generally, how we run our business, assuming the going concern basis, we assume that our business is going to exist for a long period of time and we take all the ITC. So we have taken this ITC in April 19. But now on 24 July, after 2.5 years, I am saying that, okay, I'm shutting it off. So what I'll require to do on 24 July, ITC already taken was in excess of what I am required to take. So I'll reverse 50% of 50,000. That comes out to 25,000 rupees. I have to reverse it. If I am closing my business condition, my business is getting closed, it's not being taken over by any other new firm or person. It's closed, finished. The transactions are finished because now the government wants the ITC chain to be break. Okay? Clear in that sense how we calculated this 25,000 to be reversed? This is 5% for every quarter. It is required to be done. And this 5% principle, please keep in mind, any of the asset is being sold by a person who is registered under GST. You have to make sure that he needs to check how much GST to be reversed. So whenever I say business closed, or asset sold, I will calculate two things. This is the first thing. Reversal में कितना amount आया मेरा? CGST 12,500, SGST 12,500. Okay. Then second limit में ये निकालूंगी, tax on transaction value. Now what is that? अब ये जो asset था, I had purchased it in 5 lakhs. अब उसको मैं 2.5 साल बाद बेच रही हूँ, मैं बिजनेस ही बंद कर रही हूँ, तो मैं इसको बेचूंगी. अब जब मैं इसको बेचूंगी तो माइट बी मैं इसको बेच रही हूँ 3 लाख रुपए में. So on 3 lakhs, my GST is at the rate of 18%. It comes out to, let's take again a raw figure. It is coming out to 30,000. So what taxes I am required to pay now to the government? Higher. In दोनों में से जो higher है, I am going to pay that. This condition is meant for closure and this condition is even meant for asset sale. You have to see what will be the liability you are required to pay. Okay. So I think थोड़ा सा confusion हो गया है. So many questions. So Ranjita is asking, is the 5-year fixed for all the assets? Yes, the 5-year is the period which is reversed. Sunita is asking, 5% is just for reversal? Yes, you have to calculate both the limits, the reversal limit and tax on transaction. So for reversal, it is 5% per quarter the asset has been used. Ganesh is saying that in case capital goods, ITC not utilized, reversal is possible. See, Ganeshi, if ITC not utilized, so it must be availed in your ITC ledger. So it must be lying over there. So when you have seen that cancellation request, so first it will show me what is lying in my cash ledger and what is lying in my credit ledger. So यहाँ पे जितनी liability मैंने show की है, whatever is the liability, it would be first utilized from here. Okay. Satyanji is saying I guess we cannot claim ITC if entire value is capitalized. No, Satyan, it's not the case. What happens is that there is a section 17.5. Why I have changed the example of car? Section 17.5 provides details for which ITC can't be claimed. Okay? इसमें ये लिखा है कार पे नहीं मिलेगा लिखा a lot of things have been written. I'm just talking from the point of view of fixed assets. कार पे नहीं मिलता. Then construction से related उस पे नहीं मिलता. Construction पे आपने जो खर्चा किया है on that you won't get the ITC. Plant and machinery के अगर installation किया है आपने and that too which is in the nature of embedded in earth. So it's a part of construction. Then again no ITC. Otherwise, if I have furniture, fixture, computers, tables, jigs and fixtures, molds, patterns, I'll get all the ITC. Even if it is capitalized, even if it is a part of my fixed asset register, I'll get all the ITC. Okay, Satyan? Don't do that we can't get the ITC if it is capitalized. So where we were, accordingly, you have to determine what is the taxation liability. Okay. Arshad is saying depreciation. Arshad, depreciation is a part of direct taxes. Why don't get it merged with indirect taxation? Now Veena is saying on reversal, is there any interest to be paid if there is no balance in ITC and we have to pay the liability arise due to reversal? So you have to pay it in cash then. All the liability has to be paid in cash. Nandini is saying why car has no ITC? Nandini, car is covered under section 17.5. The law says is that if you are using the car for business other than running of car on hire, एक जैसे टैक्सी वाला बिजनेस होता है कि मैं टैक्सी चलाने का बिजनेस करती हूँ, then I can take the ITC of car. But if it is my chartered accountancy business, I am using car just for the purpose of my traveling, I cannot take the ITC. Section 17.5 has specifically given that. Okay. Sushma ji is asking if I'm closing business after 5 years, still reversal rule is applied. Sushma ji, there is no limitation in the business that you cannot buy assets after opening of the business. See, we buy assets during the mid of the business as well. So when you are closing, you have to see when that asset was bought. Okay. Satyanji is saying that I guess we have two options. We can either claim depreciation or ITC. No, Satyan, nothing like that. Depreciation is income tax thing. I'm talking about this asset only. 5 lakhs, the example we are taking on 5 lakhs, the ITC was 50,000. So total cost of the asset is 5,50,000. So I've taken ITC of 50,000. My fixed assets are now valued at 5 lakh in the fixed asset register. I'll be claiming depreciation every year on 5 lakhs. 50,000 will be taken at ITC. You won't capitalize the assets at 5,50,000. Okay? Getting my point? Rakesh ji, your question is related to the current thing I'm going through. You are saying that if you sold as a scrap, you are saying over here when I'm saying I'm selling it at 3 lakh, I'm selling it at 3 lakh, you are saying you are going to sell it as a scrap. Okay, might be my scrap value is 20,000. I'm selling it at rupees 20,000. 5 लाख का सेट 20,000 में बिका. 20,000 पे मेरी लाइबिलिटी आती है 2,000 की. ठीक है, 10% का मैं नॉर्मल रेट लेके चल रही, 10% की लाइबिलिटी आती है. नाउ अगेन सेम रूल फॉलो. I have to see higher value. Which one is higher? 25,000 obviously is higher than 2,000. So I have to pay 25,000 only through reversal. Okay. Now Dhanashri is saying that if I have capitalized 5.5 lakhs, I'm not required to pay tax liability. Obviously, then you have not taken the ITC, why you will pay it back? Okay. Rahul, your query is not that clear to me. Please, you need to be more precise while writing your query. Rakesh Parab is saying that in that case, paying tax twice. No, Rakesh, you are not paying taxes twice. When you have purchased the asset, you have taken the ITC of 50,000. So once paid to the government, but then you have taken the ITC. Now the government is saying you are not using the asset for 5 years. Please give me back that 2.5 years ITC. You are not eligible to claim that ITC. There is no twice payment. Okay. Alguji is saying that is it necessary to claim 5% ITC in every quarter? No, Alguji, we claim entire ITC at the time of purchase. I've told you in the sheet also. I have claimed the entire ITC when I had purchased. That was 1st April 19. In April 19 only, I claimed 50,000. That is why I told you we follow the going concern concept. Okay, it's a going concern concept I'm following. I assume my business is going to exist for long, and I took all the credit. Okay. Rakesh ji is saying that first time at buying of asset and second at the time of scrap, we are paying double GST. Then Rakesh ji, don't mix the transactions. Both are different transactions. One is your purchase transaction, and then there is a second as a sale transaction. You are earning 20,000 also, na? When you are selling it as a scrap. So it's a different two transactions. Milind is saying, what if company capitalize GST? If you capitalize GST, then you won't go for this reversal. You have not taken the ITC. What you will reverse then? Okay. Rakesh ji is saying if not utilize the ITC credit, to Rakesh ji, it will be lying in your credit ledger. So whatever reversal I am typing, I'll pay it through the ITC only. I don't need to make the payment in cash. Okay, let's move forward. It's already 10:27. Let's finish 2-3 things before closing current session. I think I have to log in again. Sorry. Let me allow to log in again. Wait a minute. Okay. So where we were exactly, we were on this cancellation. I've showed you how you will cancel for the registration. हम यहाँ PPT में ही देखते हैं because since my registration is not cancelled, I won't get an option for the revocation of cancellation. So you do that, cancellation application is filed. Once you cancel your registration, only filing the cancellation application is not sufficient. Please do take notice, ये लोग नहीं करते हैं, final return नहीं file करते हैं. इसको GSTR 10 भी बोलते हैं. I don't know, most of the people are not aware about GSTR 10. It is mandatory to file GSTR 10 within 90 days of filing of your cancellation application. Through GSTR 10, you tell that, okay, this is all my liability paid, nothing left, and I am closing my accounts. I'll show you in the PPT only because it's not available now practically on the portal till the time I have not filed my return. So when you go to the services tab, return, final return, it gets opened. It asks whether you want to prepare it online or offline. So once you go over there, you give the address for the future correspondence. Then in this, there is a certificate from a chartered accountant or a cost accountant is applicable. So what exactly do we certify in this is that this was the stock lying with the assessee at the time of surrender of the registration or cancellation of the registration. These were the liabilities. Now the assessee has paid all these liabilities and there is no further liability applicable on the person. And this has to be given by a CA. It has to be CA certified. Okay. And then you enter the details of the goods that are lying with you with invoices, the goods that are lying with you without invoices, then amount payable and amount of taxes you have paid. You have to mention all the informations. There might be certain invoices, the goods which we don't have invoices, pre-GST era, or for which invoices you have lost or purchased from unregistered dealer. You give the details of entire stock available with you. And this stock does not mean only the stock, even your fixed assets. Okay, so you will enter this add details. This kind of table will get open to you. Okay, this is a table which talks about it is a GST period purchase or it is a VAT era purchase. You mention the details and then you mention the type of goods, ITC claimed. Every information is being mentioned here. Then the number of records get visible. कितने records डाले आपने? 5, 6, 10, 20. इसके लिए अगर आपके पास बहुत सारे records हैं, that is why you get an option for this offline option also. अगर stock बहुत सारा है, multiple information has to be fed, then we don't go through the GST portal. We download the offline utility and fill the form. Offline utility we will be doing in terms of filing of 3B and GSTR 1. So once you get how an offline utility is filed, any offline utility you can proceed with. Okay. Sayali is saying, can we file nil GSTR 10 also? Yes, you can file when you don't have a stock. Why you will give all these details? It would be nil. You will be filing it nil. Then you finally you have to make the payment. If there is any payment applicable to you, you will make the payments and close it. You will get all the options for the payment as you generally get while filing 3B or other things. Okay, now this is you preview your draft GSTR 10, how you are making the payment through ITC or through cash, and then you file it. Okay. Okay. So I think I'll take another 5 minutes in this revocation of cancellation of registration. Let's do it. Let's not leave it for next class. So what it says is that if your registration is cancelled, you can apply within 90 days of the cancellation order for its revocation. Earlier, this 90 days period was 180 days period. Now it is changed to 90 days. So the period has reduced. So you have to be sure if any of your assessees or clients registration has been cancelled, within 90 days you have to apply. And the thing I've already told you, when you apply for revocation of cancellation, make sure that all the returns and everything has been filed up to the date of cancellation of registration. Okay, so this also I am taking you through the PPT only. I don't have anything in my hand for which my registration has been cancelled and I can apply for revocation. In services registration tab only, you get this option, application for revocation of cancelled registration. So this is thoda sa little bit not clearly visible, but it is just general information. In this, there is a single tab where you need to work. It asks for you to give the reasons why your registration should not be cancelled. So generally, it's you need to mention that due to unforeseen circumstances, I was not able to file my all the returns on time. Now I have filed all my pending returns along with applicable interest and penalty. Request you to please revoke my cancellation order. And for any further information required, please feel free to contact. Please do mention that. Clear? Okay. So this is how we go for the revocation of cancellation. This is a penalty if you have not taken registration, but you are liable to take registration, 10,000 only. That was all. Now this starts for the composition levy, which is already done. Okay. So somehow we have completed this entire PPT that was dealing with registrations and your amendments, cancellation, and everything. Okay. So I hope I had tried to make myself clear and simple in everything while making all these presentation. Still, any doubt, any kind of doubt still left, what you can do is that now you will get that self-learning portal. You can post your queries. This week only I'll be responding back on those queries. Okay. So RK Pradhanji is asking me subject for next class. So RK Pradhanji, I have a choice. I can start either with this ITC forms, or I can start with GSTR 3B and GSTR 1. That's how exactly the filing is done on the portal. We'll be doing it practically. One is very in-depth form. One has, I believe, 16 or 18 boxes to be filled. A very in-depth form. So it will take a lot of time to go ahead with the GSTR 1. So next week, Saturday, Sunday, both we can do 1 and 3B. 3B takes lesser time as compared to 1. Okay. Veena, I have written your query. I'll let the people know that your portal is not working. Then any other query? Subject for next class. Okay. I think it's okay. Good to go ahead. So from my side, enjoy your Sunday. You are done with your hectic portion for today. Now your Sunday should be relaxed. Make the best use of the Sunday so that the next entire week you are enjoying it at work. Okay. Chalo. See ya, people. Meet you next week exactly at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Thank you very much.